I often get asked from a video, oh, it was a ways back, but it had the coolest view from the toilet. And I remember in that video stating, I said, wow, there's a house that really makes you want to binge drink Metamucil. And anyway, this Saturday I got asked a question of just that. Like, hey, sit any more bathrooms that make you want to binge drink Metamucil? The answer to that question is no. I guess it was a pretty rare bathroom. Welcome everybody. I'm your host, Alister, the Modern Modernist. So why are we even bringing that up? Well, that house was a Streng. That house was a Steve Streng listing. And today, I am in a Streng. I am in a Steve Streng listing. So I just thought it only appropriate to bring it up since I was asked about it on Saturday. And how do I feel about this house? I'm excited. This house is special in more ways than one. And it was an interesting conversation. Steve was here yesterday at the open house, so I stopped in to see him because I'm not gonna lie, bit of a fanboy. I love talking to the guy, he's brilliant. So first off, thank you, Steve, for letting me do this video. I really do appreciate it. Like every other agent that lets me do these videos, I can't thank you enough, so thank you. But anyway, talking to Steve, he told me something about this very house. Are you ready for this? So yes, I actually was sitting in the bathroom to tell you that little story. Anyway, are you ready? Dun, dun, dun. I know you guys hate it when I just walk around and show my face, but it is what it is. So, I know, it's an atrium house. This is the first one, not the first Streng. According to Steve, this is the first atrium home built of the Streng Brothers. It's really cool. And a couple of things we'll go over. It's gonna be a little choppy how I do this video today because there's gonna be so many different features of what makes this the first and why Steve seems to think it is the first one built. But what, more importantly, so that atrium, or that dome, was recently replaced. So there is not a single UV stress crack in that. So these suffer the same things do on a modern day car with your headlamps. They get little microscopic sort of, which then turn into very visible cracks. And it's just UV sun damage. The best way to prevent that is the same thing you can do on your car headlamp. And it's a neat little trick. It's not cheap to do. Even on a car lamp, it's not cheap for how big of an area the car lamp is. But it's to put PPF, paint protection film. It's a clear film. Typically you put it on the paint of your car. If you want something a little special, a little exotic, you don't want the paint to chip, you put it on. It's not cheap to do. But a side note of that is you put it on your headlamps. It's clear, the lamps will still work, still see through it because it's clear. And it's about 150 bucks just for like a little piece, just doing headlamps, which are tiny. So that, you know, now we're into equivalent doing a full car, you're gonna be north of $1,000, maybe pushing $2,000. And also you gotta find a automotive tint shop that will come to your house to do that, but that's where you would go to get that done. So neat little handy little tip. So let's get this started. You know what? Let's try not to be choppy. We'll do it as we do all these videos. So we're gonna walk out the front door and I'll show you the front of this house because it is amazing. And I love the fact that this potentially was the very first atrium home built. So we're gonna go outside. It's actually nice and quiet out here today. And so there we have it. And we are in a very, very Streng neighborhood. They're all over the place, like Skittles. I love this neighborhood. It's Overbrook off of Madison, Carmichael. And this house, it hasn't been molested. There's a lot of original stuff. Front door. It's frosted glass either side, so people aren't just staring in their living room as they're walking by. Globe light. That's very original, as it would have been. And this front door, I mean, solid front door, even has a kick plate on the bottom, which I kind of like. And the color is amazing. So there we go. And then we enter the front door. So let's do this. So if you walk in the front door of this home, that's your view when you get home. And look at that monstera. That is my favorite house plant. I love monsteras. And There's another one. There's two, there's actually a couple in this house. We'll point them out as we go around. But you get this concrete pebble dash floor. There's your beds for plants, and then straight back to the back of the house. This house lacks a fireplace. Not the end of the world, but I do like a good fireplace. But look at that, stunning, and that atrium view. And the fact that that's been replaced recently, huge, huge savings, which is really, really nice. So as we walk in this house to the front door, we're gonna go hard left. And that takes you to your, what would be your, basically your sitting room TV. Just super simple. There's two of those lampshades in this house. Very original, very mid-mod. Now, one of the common complaints you get when I do open houses at such these places, people will come in and be like, that kitchen counter's too low. That's because it's a table. And look, those chairs, they're very original. I was looking at them this weekend. They need a good registration. I would take the legs off, strip them. I'd go find an automotive place and get them chromed. I think they would look really nice chromed, but they're actually painted silver. But they are a very original chair. And these, so this is it's very early fiberglass. And what happens to these over time, this bit, this leading edge, wears and becomes rough. These are cherry. If you're writing an offer on this house and buying it, I'll try and get these included in the sale. So that tabletop, all original. That is good old Formica. It's the good stuff. That's the original. It's kind of nice. This kitchen, again, see, these dome lights are all over the place. See this? This is the coffin. Very original, all in piece. It's here. See that beam? All the beams in the interior of this house, Steve was telling me they've been brought back to being original. Ox blood brown. I don't know who names colors. I mean, do they go for a meat packing plant? Oh, look, that looks like ox blood. That's such a strange thing, isn't it? But anyway, but there it is. And look what's on the kitchen counter. Yep, another Monstera. It's such a neat house. The appliances in this house, yes, they are very, very modern. That dishwasher would not have been there originally when this home was built. Same as that stovetop, it just would have been a flat top. Probably not a full oven. But then again, it may have been because, as was traditional back then, if you had a countertop stove, these cupboards here would be in a double oven. And these look very original, unmolested. Which is kind of nice. I like these. These are actually birch wood, by the way. If you're restoring a Streng, these are always birch. This house has, see, solar tubes? They're everywhere. They're in bathrooms or in hallways. Really cool idea, and just brings in a ton of light into a room, which I really, really like. So we've gone around. So there's your front door. We went through, looped around. This is a pocket door. Does it work? That would appear to be jammed and stuck. Not the end of the world to fix, but there we go. I didn't even realize that before I started the video. Sorry, Steve. But yeah, your pocket door is stuck. But it's there and it's original. It's not that hard. Lighting. So these are actually very original looking. And that switch there controls these candle lights above my head. And then there's some on the other side of that ox blood brown painted beam. There's some more cans up the side. But anyway, and look, another Monstera. I love those. They're such cool plants. This, I don't like this floor. It's throughout on the other side where the bedrooms are. I would pull this up and the concrete underneath, I would polish it within an inch of its life and make it really shiny. And then when you go to sell the house, if no one likes it, they can just floor over the top of it. But in the meantime that you live here, you get a really cool floor. Just put rugs down. Oh, this was a cool little thing. See, it is going to be end up chopping because I end up missing stuff. So, in this cabinet, okay, this is all part of an old stereo system. Okay, stereophonic, I believe, is what Steve used, which would have been, back in the day, kids, vacuum tubes, and these little round flat discs called vinyl, and needles would be involved. Great way to listen to music. normally the owner of this home would have that all set up, sit in this room, listen to his music. And like I said, this house doesn't have a fireplace, which traditionally it would have been on these later atrium homes would be built right here. But look at this. This is not a Carter Sparks add-on. This was a homeowner custom add-on. It's very mid-mod looking, but that was the holder for all the controls for the stereo in the kitchen. So I'd sit over here and listen and control what was in that cabinet from here. And there's a little cutout for wire, if you can see down in there. Yep, that's where it came out, because there was no remotes back in the day, kids. Remotes, these were your remotes. That's the way it was. But yeah, really cool house. We're gonna go down this hallway. Look at this pebble dash. That is just the coolest thing. Absolutely love it. And then look at the size of this bad boy. There is a story with this monster. It is original to the house. And it used to grow there. And then it kind of grew up and across. And I'm assuming, I don't know for a fact, but it made it very difficult to walk down here. It was in the way. So it was cut off here. And then it's just miraculously rerouted itself. And this is where it now hangs. But that monstera, allegedly, is many decades old. So, it's very cool. This is gonna be interesting. There is a walkthrough. The primary bedrooms on these were up front, still is, but by themselves, you couldn't get to them once you walk down this hallway. This house, a little bit different, and it is something I would change back to normal. It depends how you're gonna use a house, but if you're raising a family in a house, I would change it. So, in these atrium homes, this is always your heating unit. And we've got this central hallway. So there it is. And then we're gonna talk about that opening, that doorway, because it needs to go. There is, on these, 2 closets in the hallway. And then there is a third over here. These are the original metal closet doors. They have not been swapped out, which I absolutely love. See this wood, folks? It's not been painted over. That's very original. Hinges, they have been painted over, but they're pretty aluminum, pretty original doors. Again, I love these globe lights, they're everywhere. So, why does Steve Streng seem to think this was the first atrium home built? It's because of this bedroom that I'm standing in. It's choppy, it's a little disorganized because in California, to classify as a bedroom, you have to have a built-in closet. That's the rules, that's the way it is, folks. So, the closet, like I said, we walk in the door, so this camera's walking in the door, by the way. You walk in the bedroom, you turn to your right. Where's the closet? Well, the closet is around the corner. When you call me to tour this house and see it in person, it is weird. And Steve's just under the impression that Carter Sparks just didn't know how to, wasn't sure. It was the first one. How do we do this? And that's how they did it. There is no other Streng that I've been in that this back bedroom on this floor plan is the closet's done like that. There's a minimal handful, and they've since been switched where the closet, instead of being there, would be directly behind us, because it makes, where do you put a bed in this room? So I would make this an office. Which brings us to, later in the video, about that door all the way down the hallway and why it needs to go back to the way it is. So, another bedroom. The lighting in this house is so cool. Look at that. Again, another piece of furniture. Very mid-mod. If I was writing the offer, I would ask, can we include that? It's just a mid-mod chest of drawers. I like it. See this? Intercom throughout the whole house. And according to Steve, it works perfectly. I like intercoms. A lot of people take them out. I don't know, it's very original. I think they're kind of cool. And you know what? You're in the kitchen, cooking dinner. Who wouldn't want to announce to Timmy that his dinner is ready? or the, you know, lass is back from the well and needs his food. That is pretty cool, but they do work. Laundry room. Okay, as is typical with Strengs, they always have a hot water heater. Once again, I would take that out and make it tankless. Just save so much space in here, big time. And this is slightly newer in the sense of, as you can see, we don't have any underfloor vents. They're all above our heads. And that's why, again, in this hallway, I'm 5'10", and like my elbow's it's not even dead straight. We can touch the ceilings because that's all the ductwork and it's off all just basically the central spine of the house. So every time you walk in a room and look over the door, there's the vent. This is bathroom number 1. It's a 2-bath house. The bathrooms have been redone, so unfortunately have lost their original cabinets, but what they've put in, they're not terrible, but they're not brilliant either. And I would go back to Formica countertops. But the base cabinets, they're actually really good. And then you do have, let's have a look. So it's kind of fake. Look at this. You're like, what? Where's the medicine cabinet? Let's move this plant out of the way. Ta-da! It's on this side, but there you go. So these are actually, when you're getting ready in the morning, in my case, not doing your hair, but, and then this, I like these, very mid-mod. Put the plant back where we found it. So, we're ready? This door has clearly been swapped out. And then frosted glass. I would go back to a solid wood door. What's nice, I'm not sure who did this. This door has been replaced because it's not even finished. It's bare wood, hasn't been painted. But somebody is paying attention. Even though the hinges in this house are original and they are painted over, the new door that's hung here, they're over the aluminum hinges. They literally took the time to find the correct hinges. Amazing. And as I stand here, you actually don't need to go buy a door because you're gonna turn this back into a bedroom because it's kind of a pass through to the primary. So you're gonna block that door off and save that door and put it where this frosted glass door is. That's what I would do anyway. So again, there's a closet in here and they've saved, these are all the original metal doors. And again, look, oh, superb. All the beams painted the right color. And again, we have another very, very original piece of furniture in this room. And whoever this is, they really took care of these because this is very early fiberglass, very early. And again, when we touch this, it's not worn out, nothing. I mean, and this is definitely an original chair because it's got a case of the rockers going on. These happen over time, but it's an easy fix. Stretch those back, bend them back and make it all work. But give us a little bit of a restoration on the legs and stuff, but really nice original condition chair. So yeah, definitely write that in the offer. Can we keep the chair, please? And I love these light fixtures. They're superb. So we're going to have, so the bathroom that I was sitting in when we started the video, it's right there. That's where it'll be. And I've seen these stone floors in a bunch of mid-mod bathrooms lately and contemporaries, and I really like them. But I would make, like I said, I would lose this floor. It even sounds like terrible underfoot. Polish the floor underneath the concrete. It would be really cool, especially with this stone floor leading into your bathroom. These are beautiful. Absolutely superb. And again, medicine cabinet. Is it on this side? Yes, it is. And this is not hard. You can buy these inserts still today at Lowe's and Home Depot. They're not hard to find. And they just mount within the stud of the wall. So you could add them another one to this side. Like I said, it's just a mirror. but it gives you a his, her medicine cabinet. And same thing with this. I would lose this, go Formica and put in 2 sinks. And you have his, her sinks too. Again, we've got, look at that skylight, so cool. And the toilet, this pocket door, it's a little sticky, but it works. And how you like this? Ready? It's very 70s. Watch the red dot in the sky. Yeah, so you get out of the shower, you turn that on, and it becomes very, very hot. So you dry off. Or you kind of make yourself like a little sauna shower. Very, very cool. All right, so yeah, I don't know why they made, it's kind of like a sitting room, office to the primary, but I would block that off and turn this back into the main primary bedroom. 2 full closets in here. So, but I would go these floors, I would lose them and go polish concrete. And then this window for the primary, you definitely want to frost that or definitely have curtains because that looks out into your front entrance because there is the front door. So there we go. Another really cool feature about this house that has survived. And there is a pair. Just see it down there, the Monstera. They have survived. They get tossed so often. And when they're original, they're nice. They're easy to remake if you had to, but they're not original. That is original. Save those. It just adds to the house. It's such a cool house. So let's go out into the garden. My favorite place of any home is the garden. And there's a little treat out here involving some beams, which is amazing and very nice to see. So this backyard is peaceful as could be. I was here yesterday at the open house on the Sunday and it was amazing. It was really quiet. So there are definitely some fruit trees back here. You could very easily add a pool. There is a pad down there for a hot tub. Again, there's 3 of these suckers in here. You ready? 3 globe lights on the back porch. So cool. And then the side yard. I'm gonna talk about side yards because there is a rather large side yard. And there's your garbage cans down there. Okay. And then on this side, this is why I don't understand why this was done this way. It makes no sense. I would fix it. It's an expensive fix. So there's a gate at the end of this. And you would walk down here, but there's the HVAC unit in the way. Maybe put it on the roof or switch it to the other side where there's more space. So what treat do we have back here, kids? All right, ready? This is the beam. There's several of these across the house, as you can see. All right, and these are full-length beams, and these California dry rot just destroys these over time. So this is wood. Okay, see this? This is an aluminum cap, and it goes all the way back to here. So let's just see, hopefully that catches it. Comes all the way up. They have been replaced all across the back of the house and all across the front. They are pristine. It's superb. Look at them. None of these. They're not warped. They're not crooked. There isn't. Some of them you'll see people they cut like almost like a square Z shape or very squared Z, and then put in new wood and then bolt it through and then paint it all up. You still have to replace that at some point because drywall will come back. It's not like it disappears for good. You've just, done a repair, and then you've got to repair it later. It's maintenance. And you have to repair it again later. But those are permanent, and they are superbly done. So I don't know who the contractor was, but nice job. It's amazing. So, yeah, look at this. This is it's beautifully done. This is a very original slider. It's heavy, but it slides. It doesn't stick, but it is heavy to pull. Sliders, modern day sliders are much lighter, but unfortunately they're like, you know, white and like a PVC plastic. And who wants that in a mid-mod? It looks terrible. So yeah, I stand here and I'm just staring at, look at these monsters. They are just superb. I would put this one out of the pot, put it in the ground. Still leave it supported, of course, but look at them. They're just, this is a really cool atrium. And then, obviously being an atrium, I'd have a lot more plants. And another cool plant of mine, house plant, another favorite, there's a pair of them here, Christmas cactuses. I like Christmas cactuses. They typically flower at Christmas, hence the name, but you can play tricks with them and move them around the house in different areas of light. I have one on my desk, and last month, while it was still in March, I got it to blossom. Not that hard to do. So it's kind of nice. So yeah, my Christmas cactus, it flowered in Christmas, and I managed to trick it, and it did it again in March. So it's kind of cool. But anyway, this is a pretty brilliant home, folks. This is fantastic. If you want to see it, write an offer, buy it, reach out, please. Happily be your agent and walk you through the whole process of buying a home. So Steve, I can't thank you enough, sir. It's always a fanboy moment for me when I meet you. I don't know if that's awkward for you to hear as you're watching this, but I could listen to you forever. It's just amazing what your dad, your uncle, and then what obviously you continue to do as well afterwards. You built, I know you built, carried on the family legacy for a year or two in Elk Grove, building more Strengs. So yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, on social media recently, there was a post like a couple days ago, which neighborhood has the most Strengs? And of course, everyone was like, Southland Park, Southland Park. Southland Park has 68 Eichlers and a handful of Strengs, and that is it. The Strengs, Bill and Jim, built 3,800 of these homes within the Sacramento region and also Davis. Highest concentration, I don't know, there's 200 duplexes in the Thomas of a whole neighborhood they built. There is complete tract home sort of neighborhoods of Strengs down in Elk Grove, here in Carmichael, and also parts of Citrus Heights. And there's little pockets. So yes, Southland Park is not the most concentrated neighborhood of mid-mods in Sacramento. And then you have Joseph R. Cowden over in Arden. Same thing, built a ton of mid-mods over there. So, but there we go. Anyway, folks, it has been an absolute pleasure showing this house. I cannot thank for all of you enough that make it to the end of these videos. Please like, subscribe. It means a lot to me. I really do appreciate it. So thank you for listening to me. I really do appreciate it. Once again, Steve, thank you so much. Folks, my name is Alister, your host of The Modern Modernist. Be good to each other, humans. Bye-bye.